Evening, merry drinkers. Welcome back. Doubling down on Golden Ale today, and following up with the Duvel Malt Gat with a L'Achouffe. This is by Brasserie D'Achouffe. It wasn't in the offer, so I had to pay the outrageous price of £2.75 for this bottle. But it is also in 300 beers to try before you die. Now, as we capped on the last one, a Golden Ale was essentially released Anglo-Belgian product to combat the dominance of lager in both those markets. Whether that's been successful long term, I'll let you be the judge, but it has hollowed out what is quite a tasty beer style, I think. Duvel was the first, so they were in around the late 70s. L'Achouffe was set up by two brothers-in-law. They were called Chris Baravaert and Pierre Gordon, and they started doing it on a temporary basis, just messing around in a garage in a shed in the late 70s, and they came up with this absolute banger of a brew. Started brewing it commercially in the 1980s, and they didn't really add to it for a long time. I think it's organically grown. And then they hacked into the Canadian market, and that's where it really took off. Expanded massively in the 80s, and then by, I think, 2006, so they would have been brewing for 30 years, I think, between them then, Duvel Malt Gat came and hoovered them up and bought them out. Whether they've changed the beer or not, I don't know, but the distribution network for Duvel is superb, so that might be why we see L'Achouffe pop up in these bottles. It was initially a draft product, or you could also buy it in big magnums, sort of 1.5 litre wine bottles. But Duvel much more focused on these 33 centilitres, 330 mils, which for an 8% beer is probably a nice size. I don't know if I'd fancy getting through 1.5 litres of that sort of beer in one sitting. So it's got a little gnome on the front, a little Marcel the gnome. The brewery is based in Achouffe, which is a region of southern Belgium, quite near to the border with Luxembourg. And L'Achouffe doesn't mean anything; it's a bit of a made-up word. Colloquially, I think it is gnome, and that is where Marcel the gnome comes from, and he's been their emblem ever since. If you go to a couple of beer festivals, they dish out the little red hats, which go down very well. I think when you've had one of their beers and you will put one of those hats on, it's a sign that you've probably had enough. We skip it along. On the bottom, it's 8%. It is a Golden Ale. It's down as a Belgian blonde, but it's defined as a Golden Ale in the book. So that means it's had a primary fermentation in the traditional warm style of a UK Belgian beer, but then they also combine it with a cold fermentation to give it a slight lagering property. So this is going to be full of fizz. Give it a crack open. We've got Marcel skipping along on the bottle cap. I think they've changed the design recently. I remember it being much more colourful than it is now. Well, modern life is black and white, isn't it? So as for the Duvel, take this very gently. There's serious carbonation in this, so it can just be tipped in very gently. It's not a nucleated glass, this, but the head will come together nice and easily. It's not a carbonation bomb like the Duvel was. I don't know if we can quite see loads of fizz in that. There's a much more gentle carbonation for this one. And there's a really herbal garden type hedgerow vibe off the top of it. It's much more fragrant from the Duvel. Has an absolute pillow of a head. This is only about a pinky thick. Still pretty thick, but you can definitely smell the beer through it. slight fruity spice. Classic Belgian Eastery things, very, very subdued. It's not like a triple or double. It's like absolutely smashing you in the face. This is just another layer to the beer on the nose. And some slight spice. 8%. It's not whiffing like it's absolutely loaded with booze. Let's give it a try. Cheers. Now, different to the Duvel. That doesn't look as fizzy in the glass, but when you put it in your mouth, there's lots of carbonation there. It's really fizzy on the front of the tongue, and that is the initial sensation. But once that fades away, there's a really nice fruit body that's coming through on this. You have to let the carbonation die on your tongue a little bit, but it's really quite zesty, and there's a very interesting herbal undertone. You're semi-expecting, it's like an IPA style body, so you're expecting like a real fruit punch, but instead it sort of twists it round and it's slightly Eastery and slightly spicy and slightly herbal. There's a very interesting combination of flavours. That is proper tasty. On the back end, it's not too bitter. I'd imagine there is a classic bittering hop in there somewhere, a German style one. It's just nice, clean, crisp. It just dries out the back of your palate. But the main herbal spicy bit does linger around. There's something odd in there, which is a bit more prominent on this. I would like to see what the herb is. I've had it on draft before, maybe once. It's not a beer I buy too often, but I'm not entirely sure why. It's very, very tasty. When I was recently in Los Cristianos, there was a specialty bar just to the back of the main beach called the Hafish. They didn't do any local beers, didn't do any Spanish stuff, so I didn't do a video in there, but their main seller, they did Warsteiner and then La Chouffe on tap. 8% Belgian beer is just what you want when you've come off the beach and your thirst needs slaking. But it was very, very refreshing. I hope I didn't upset him too much. I turned his German beer down flat. It's lovely, and on a hot day, to be fair to it, a bit similar to the Duvel. That is really thirst quenching. It's nice if you'd been on the lagers and you were after something that had a little bit more flavour. This is right in there. It's going to slow your pace down, give you plenty for your palate to have a think about, and get you slowing down, get you sipping a little bit. Very nice. Can't drink it too quick. Have a quick look at the bottle on the back. Now, the Duvel had glucose syrup included on the ingredients. For La Chouffe, water, barley malt, inverted sugar syrup, which is the classic Belgium edition, hops, yeast, and coriander seeds. Okay, so that's what's giving it. Don't get too much coriander in Shaydan because Vicky Cam is not a fan. I'd say that's subtle. Yeah, it's got a nice seedy, herbal, hedgerow type of taste. It doesn't taste like coriander. I know the seeds and the actual plants, the actual weed itself are quite different beasts. But I really quite enjoy that. Unlike the Duvel, the head's pretty mellow. It's a much more carbonated beer, so it hasn't sort of like sloshed out into the glass, and the way it's swishing around the mouth is quite pleasant. I'll see what Mr. Protz has got to say about it in the book. So you should have a quick comment about a Chouffe, proving that brewing can be fun with a bearded dwarf and the red hat, not dissimilar to a Smurf who lives in the dense forest of the Ardennes region in the Belgian province of Luxembourg. I think the only other thing I know that's from the Ardon is that really rough porky pate, which is another acquired taste. I do quite like that as well. That's got herbs in it. So strong, complex and bottle fermented ales with the striking labels depicting the dwarf were successful for the founders Pierre Gobron and Chris Bowrights to give up their day jobs and move full time into old farm buildings in 1986. This has been their main product. It's brewed with pure Ardon water, pilsner and crystal malts. So again, you get that real traditional lager base combined in at the bottom, and Czech Saaz and Styrian Goldings. So again, real traditional lager in hops. So you get that ale treatment, ale ingredients with a lager, a little twist of the lager brewing process at the end. As I was saying, that's 8%. It's light, it's zesty, it's drying, and it's bringing you back in. It's deep gold with rich, sweet citrus fruits and a coriander aroma, vinous fruit, balanced, juicy malt, herbal notes, gentle hop resins, and a long, powerful finish. In 2006, it was bought by the Morgret Group Brewers of Duvel. Definitely a rich gold colour, I'll give it that. That's got a very nice goldeny shine, goldeny amber shine to it. And it goes to show, sometimes in brewing, you just need to come up with one good beer, do it well, and sell it to the masses. Sometimes you don't need 50, 60, 70 variations, just giving it a different name for the sticker badge, sort of the tickers on Untapped. Now, scores wise, ESB has been at the top at 3.6 for a long, long time. It's been a hot day. I'm just back from the gym. That is really hitting the spot. Again, entirely personal, but that's got really nice fruit esters, really nice body, and it's hitting the spot. So I think we're going to have a new leader. I'm going to get that 3.8 out of 5 for £2.75. Absolute banging beer. I'll be getting some of those on stock just to leave in the fridge, just in case anyone comes around. I know Slurpy Dave commented in the previous video that if you're on holidays, especially in Spain, when sometimes the beer selection can be a bit drab, lots and lots of macro lager, if you can spot one of these in the fridge, and you can bookend your Estrella or your Sabagal or one of the other travesties. If you're on Cruz Campo, just pack up and go home. Yep, lovely. New leader. I don't think it's going to be there very long. I've got an old peculiar chilling in the fridge, and that'll be out soon in the next couple of weeks. But until then, the Chouffe, excellent beer, and I wish them all the best. Cheers.